I became a mother on October 7th, 2011, but it wasn't until much later that I finally became a mom. See, the internet, books, personal anecdotes, they're all rife with tales of women who loved and adored their babies right from the instant they were born. They're the women who were born to be mothers, the moms to outdo all moms. And while I admire them and sometimes wish I could be like them, I knew long before my daughter was born that I'm not one of them. I found out I was pregnant in the spring of 2011. I'd been with my boyfriend, Zach, for less than a year, and while we loved each other very much, we hadn't exactly planned on becoming parents. The night I finally fessed up to weeks of nausea and took a pregnancy test was among the scariest of our lives. I took 4 tests, each one with a positive result, and then I hid in Zach's arms and cried. Where television commercials show giddy women beaming excitedly over 2 pink lines, I felt only terror and shame. I was 23 years old, unmarried, unemployed, uninsured, and I was going to be a mother. In an effort to make sense of my new world, I started writing letters to my baby. Dear baby, I heard your heartbeat this morning. Dear baby, I barfed 3 times last night. Dear baby, what the hell am I doing with my life? I stopped writing after the first trimester because it felt contrived. I wanted to be able to say that hearing my baby's heartbeat was magical, that the first ultrasound brought me to tears, that I stood in line at the grocery store with palms pressed lovingly against my growing belly, like I was already cradling the life that lived inside. But I couldn't say any of those things, because they were all lies. They were stories fed to me by what to expect when you're expecting, not genuine thoughts and feelings I was experiencing in the moment. My baby's first heartbeat was far from magical to me. In fact, it was downright foreign, an uncommon whirring that sounded more like an overloaded washing machine than a miraculous feat of nature. The first ultrasound looked like I'd swallowed a very large peanut, and when the ultrasound technician asked me what I thought, I nodded enthusiastically and said, "Cool!" Cool, the go-to response of unimpressed 15-year-olds opening a sweater from grandma on Christmas morning. While I was pregnant, Zach and I got married, and we moved to a new city. And as we built our new life together, I started to feel a little bit more excited about our little baby. We bought books full of names and shopped IKEA for furniture. We found out we were having a little girl, and we bought the baby's first outfit. I even started to feel a little bit protective of her. I worried when I had Braxton Hicks contractions or hadn't felt her move in a few hours. I wondered what would happen when she made her grand entrance into the world, what it would feel like to become somebody's mom. Finally, October 7th rolled around, and I met her for the first time. She came out bright-eyed and wailing, and as I looked at her, expecting to feel a flood of love and emotion, I pressed my index finger into her tiny palm and instead thought, "Who are you?" I don't mean who are you the way mob bosses in the movies might sneer it. I just mean literally, who are you? I don't know you. I was horrified because I didn't immediately love my baby. I mean, I liked her. She was adorable. I wanted to take care of her and protect her, but wasn't I supposed to feel something else? Wasn't I supposed to tell stories about the moment she emerged from my womb and suddenly the hospital room opened to a field of wildflowers and her father and I cradled her while we ran through the meadow singing the theme song from The Sound of Music? Wasn't I supposed to love my new cracked nipples? Wasn't I supposed to think bleary middle of the night feedings were precious moments? Wasn't I supposed to like having a baby? Just a little bit. The truth is, I thought having a newborn sucked, and I cried. And at some point, I forgot how to stop crying, and I started not wanting to get out of bed and thinking it was appropriate to throw things across the room when I was upset. I obsessively checked the locks over and over every night and had panic attacks whenever my husband left the house. Then suddenly therapists were involved, and medication, and my husband and mother taking weeks off of work to help me because I couldn't cope. There were dreams of running away and leaving both my husband and daughter behind, of being free and single again. There was guilt for feeling guilt, and guilt for feeling guilty about feeling guilt. And beneath it all, there was the fear that I was, as I'd always imagined, a terrible, incompetent mother. I could look at my little girl, and I could well up with tears at how beautiful and perfect she was, but I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't push through the wall standing between me and happiness with my new station in life. I didn't want to be left alone with her, to take care of her, to answer her cries. I didn't want to be her mother. It took months of work to stop feeling like motherhood was a death sentence, and the clouds of depression were slow to lift. I fought every day to swim through the murky waters of my own anxiety and back into reality. I clung desperately to the tiny life rafts my daughter threw me each day, the giggles, the smiles, the tiny and unexpected milestones, and soon the days seemed only partly cloudy. I watched my daughter roll over, then sit up, then crawl, then walk, and as she learned to stand on her own, so did I. I allowed myself to be the person that she reached for, and I felt joy at the weight of her tiny frame pressed against mine. I spent the majority of the first year of my daughter's life suffering from depression, but today I live with it, and I survive it. Sorry. And today I love my daughter. I've always loved her. I understand that now. See, I thought that I was detached and that she was a stranger and that we would never bond, but you don't fight the way I fought for someone you don't love. You don't cry and struggle and push yourself miles beyond your limits for someone you don't love. I have loved my daughter from the minute she became mine, and loving her drove me to push through my own anxieties, shortcomings, and fears to become something I never thought I could be, her mom.